Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here. Today, I'm going to head inside the camper with you because I want to show you this cool project we're working on. We're basically doing a DIY make your own fridge, and this will be really good for any of you. If you're living in a van, if you're living in an SUV even, you might be able to custom make your own little fridge. It's not going to be a full-on fridge. We're not on grid, but this is going to be more like a really insulated cooler box that you can use. Now, why would we do that in a truck camper? Did it not come with a fridge? Actually, it did, but if you're wanting to save weight, if you're doing your own kind of DIY custom build inside of something, which is basically what we're doing in the camper, then this is a perfect project, and it's going to use only a couple of materials that you can probably find for free. So come on, let's go in, and I'll show you what we got going on in here. Okay, so for this project, what materials that you'll need would be: try to find yourself some scrap foam pieces like this. This is what we have. We got a couple of this thin stuff, and we've got some of this thicker stuff. You know, the stuff that kind of looks like a cooler. Lots of people use this for various projects, and if you look on places like Craigslist, you can probably find yourself a pile. We've got a lot more of really big pieces that we can use, but we really only need the size to make a cooler and maybe some little pieces to stuff in cracks. And you will also want to try to find, if you can, some scrap plexiglass. Thinner stuff would be better for this project, but you can use whatever. This is some scrap stuff we found. It's kind of dirty, but it doesn't really matter. We can clean it up, and we've got big enough material also to fill in the hole inside of our cooler. And you might also want some sort of adhesive, like some caulk, to kind of help hold the plexiglass on to your foam. And it might also be helpful to have a few screws just to put in place to help that hold. So super simple, and it can be super cheap too if you just are patient and look for these materials somewhere on Facebook yard sales, Craigslist, or just around your neighborhood. You know, people put their junk out, and one man's junk is another man's treasure. So let's get started. This was originally in this camper was a little cooler fridge. And yeah, if you were on grid, which we never are, so it didn't really matter for us. But if you would be on grid, you technically, if your electric and everything was working right, you could plug this baby in and you could have a full working little fridge in your camper. Again, doesn't matter for us because we're never on grid. So what we wanted was, yeah, it's still nice to keep things cool. Again, our demands are not that high. A lot of our foods, we've been moving to, you know, a different food strategy as well. It's also available here on the channel, where I do a lot of fun little foraging adventures. That's one way. Foraging's great. You could just pick it and eat it, or pick it and cook it. Then you don't have to worry quite as much about preservation, and then you can do things like solar dehydrating, drying those foods, which preserves them. But there are some things that are nice to keep cool, and you know, we'll go in, let's say, to the city, go to the grocery store, restock before we go out camping. And when we restock, the last thing we want to do is have anything go to waste. So I talk extensively in another video about this. Check that one out. If you're looking for tips on foods, if you're hitting the road, whether it's just a short-term travel, camping adventures, or if you're going to live on the road like us, check that one out. There's a lot of good tips about the types of foods. We've had to learn which things last the longest. And there are certain things. There are certain vegetables and fruits that are better than others. So it's good to stock up on those. And then you don't have to worry about it going bad. But what about the things we do want to keep cool? Okay. One strategy is to kind of put it in a cooler. You could get a cooler at a thrift store if you don't have one, if you don't want to spend tons of money on it, or whatever. But once you have the food in there, you can just, what we did when we were in the SUV was to just tuck it in the woods. Tuck it somewhere in the shade where the sun's not hitting it. And right there saves you already. A lot of stuff stays pretty cool in the woods. You can even put it in a waterproof bag or whatever, and you can actually stick it, float it in the water. And if you're by cold water, that would also keep it cool. But what about just driving around? I mean, we follow the sun. That's our whole life strategy. Stay in the sun, enjoy it. And that means quite a bit of sun might be beating down on our little home. So what do we do then with the fridge? That's today's project. So here's our little, well, heads up, we removed the actual fridge in here. It was very heavy. And since it was not on grid and staying really cold all the time, it actually started to mold from the buildup of moisture. And so with the weight and that happening, we were like, why have it in? So we took it out completely. So I don't think that was in the last update when we showed you our whole camper renovation, meet the truck camper videos. We had not removed the fridge yet. We removed a lot of stuff, but not the fridge yet. So this is a new project and it's gone. And we replaced the front of the fridge with this little door and a little makeshift with like spare parts, as you can see, little handle here, boop, pop it open. And now what we've done is we actually got free pieces. We love to get free stuff like off Craigslist or off the curb. Pick stuff up, why not? It saves you money. So that's what we did. We scoped out some free foam and guess what? Now we can build our own cooler. So what we have in here, I'll show you guys. We have a little shelf on top where we can keep our dried goods. So yeah, we got these containers from a friend who does a lot of recycling, and so yeah, they were free too. And now we can keep our bulk goods. Oh, arm's getting tired. Ugh. We can keep these bulk goods. That's like another food strategy out there. Save that for another video. Today, I want to show you what's below it, and that is our new cooler. See that foam in there? Yeah, we've attached the foam pieces, cut them kind of perfectly to fit. Look at that. Now we have essentially a cooler. This is going to help insulate the food that we're going to keep in here. And then we even put a little scrap piece of foam that we got on the door so that when we close it, it will be fully insulated, fully enclosed and insulated. And we also got some scrap pieces of this plexiglass. It's a very flexible plexiglass that was also meant for the junk pile. So not only are we removing junk from being thrown in the landfill, but we're also saving our budget and using this for free. So actually, hey, if we have an issue with this, we're not out because we haven't really invested any money into it. And again, that's the way to go, guys. Do it that way. There's so much material out there that people are always getting rid of. So if you're willing to wait, then you can do the project for really cheap. So we are working on that right now. We're going to get the pieces cut and we are going to make them fit in here. And the main advantage here is, one, it'll protect this foam so that it doesn't get scraped up. But it will also help us to have a surface that we can just wipe down and clean. We want to avoid any mold or dirty issues with that. Okay, so we got our little plexiglass piece. We got the first one in, and I just want to show you what it looks like and what we got going on here. So let me spin around here. Boop, back to the fridge. Here it is. Look at that. Now we've got this hard surface. And then you might want just some caulking to put on there. So we have the fridge almost done. Right now what we have going on is we have the foam pieces in place. And we have the hard plexiglass pieces on here. And we threw one on the door as well. Now you can do the project while doing this, but we thought this would be a good idea just to kind of keep the door basically easy to clean and sort of protected. So in addition to this, we're trying to secure the pieces. We are seeing if the caulking will hold the pieces in place. So you might want to try this also. We'll give you a report and let you know how that works out. We might also need to put a screw in place if this doesn't hold. We'll let you know. So other materials you might need to have on hand. Some clamps would be great if you have some, or if you have a friend you can borrow them or whatever. It's just going to help us keep these pieces in place while it's drying.